It's that time again when we talk about all those indie releases coming your way in August 2023. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is the indie releases of August 2023, and what a variety of fantasy we have coming out this month. Now before we jump into that list, make sure you check in the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord, should you want to come along for the ride. Now as always, these lists do not come from me, they come from two very lovely gentlemen in the SFF indie community, and that is Rob J. Hayes and Matthew Olney from Epic Indie. You can put your books on these lists should you have anything coming out over the coming months. For the rest of the year, you just need to have a cover and a blurb, but I'll put information about those lists down the bottom there. I just give these a video platform to be able to get them out into the world in a different form of media should people enjoy that more than reading blog posts. So let's jump in. The first one is very much sparked my curiosity. Up on August 1st, we have Card Mage. This is Slumdog Deck Builder, Card Mage Book 1 by author Benedict Patrick. This is progression / cultivation fantasy / lit RPG. Not only is the cover for this incredible, but the idea of building a fantasy around a card game. I mean, I'm reading Malazan at the moment, and I really love the deck of dragons, so card games and fantasy, like, I'm sort of here for it, but this sounds like a lot of fun. It says, build your deck, prepare for battle, change the world. Born in the slums of Domstad, City of Cards, Hick has known only poverty. The only way to make life better for himself and his family is to play the magical card game that is the lifeblood of the city. Earn new cards, learn how to use them, build deeper bonds with the folkloric monsters contained within. Hick's dreams are shattered, however, when he is targeted by the religious fanatics who run the city, and is forced to compete in the secret high-stakes world of the underground card circuit. Hick must struggle to keep his identity secret as he builds his deck, unlock the power of the cards, and take his first steps toward becoming a legendary card player. This just sounds so friggin' good. I've heard a few people who have read this so far who have really enjoyed it, and it just seems like a really good blend of fun fantasy as well as that sort of grimdark, that progression. So I am looking forward to reading this one eventually once I have some time. Also up on August 1st, we have The Wind at Oak Hollow. This is Realm of Light Book 1 by Melissa Widmeyer. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, and this is epic fantasy. I really like this cover. I think trees on the cover of fantasy just draw me in because I like that. Going back into a time where technology wasn't a thing, we had swords, we had nature, and to me, I'm just like, I just like trees and I can't keep them alive, so seeing them on books makes me happy. This one says, families can be complicated, especially when the fate of the kingdom rests on yours. Marl Ganwin is more than just a mischief maker. He's a pain in the ass, the wind spirit's favorite youth. The village of Nair tolerates his antics, giving him free rein to ramble and rumble, but these things take an unexpected turn when the wind forces him to accept an unfathomable fate. Can Marl's family and the entire village survive the implosion of his gifts, or will his choices send their peaceful world order into a whirlwind? What will he lose when he accepts his powers? That one also sounds pretty good. There's a lot of really good sounding fantasy on this list so far. Also on August 1st, and one that I've personally purchase, so there is a hint there. This is A Savage Country by Morgan Shank. This is the follow-up to A Low Country, book 2 in the Low Country series by the author. This is grimdark / Weird West. So if you're looking for some Western fantasy, give this series a go. I can't wait to get to book 1 and book 2 when I have some time here. I'm not going to give anything away from the blurb because it is a book 2, but the cover is pretty and you can have a look at it up there. Also on August 1st, there's quite a few happening on the 1st of August, or has happened. This is a new entry by K.S. Veloso. This is Outlaw Mage, the Dagian Puppet Master, book number 1. What a series name, and this falls under the category of epic fantasy. I've personally not read any of this author yet, but I'm very much looking forward to doing so. There are a couple of series that I'm currently interested in, and this one has also sparked my interest. Despite Roshar's efforts, she will never fit in. To her classmates, she is forever an outsider, a girl from the fringes of the Empire, just lucky enough to have well-off parents. To her teachers, she is either a charity case or an exception to the rule that Goranten just aren't capable of performing complex magic. Worse still, she is nothing but a status symbol to her father, a child gifted with magic, to show how powerful friends that even people like them could belong in the Empire. As if she doesn't have enough problems already. Haunted by the invisible rules that pull her dreams just out of grasp, she walks out on the eve of her final exams, throwing away her one chance at becoming an official mage of the Empire. She practices magic outside the Mages' Council's grasp, one of the worst crimes anyone could commit. Years later, her father's shoddy business deals have finally landed him in trouble, and he disappears without a trace. Roshar reluctantly enters the service of a rich sorcerer, his last known connection. The sorcerer's sudden death leaves her stranded in a sea of enemies, and the knowledge that the man is the voice behind the ageless, faceless emperor. To protect herself and her family, Roshar must impersonate the most powerful man in the Empire. As she becomes everything she's ever hated, she stumbles upon conspiracies that seek to break the Empire from within. It sounds pretty cool. Also, on August 1st, we have a new entry by Mr. Phil Tucker, Dawn of the Void, book number 3. This is another progression/cultivation fantasy from this author who does it so very well. I'm not going to read the blurb, but this is the final installment, I believe, in this series. Also, on August 1st, is another entry by Tao Wong in a 1000 Li series. This is the third cut, and this is book number 9, and it is, again, something that Tao Wong does very well, which is progression/cultivation fantasy. Book 9, I won't go into it, but you can have a look at the cover, which will be up there. And another one for August 1st, we have Runelight. This is by J.A. Andrews, and it is the Enigma Lights book number 1. J.A. Andrews is a name that I've also been meaning to get to for quite some time, and this enters under the epic fantasy genre. Kate thought finding the puzzle box would give her all the answers, but it only holds far more desperate questions. Kate is a keeper, a storyteller, magic wielder, and researcher, but a single mystery has evaded her all her life. What happened on the tragic day when two strangers stole not only the puzzle box that hummed with magic, but so much more? She and her brother Beau have searched for 20 years with no luck, until then a surly elf shows up on the hidden doorstep of the Keeper's stronghold, with that same Enigma box, and the message Beau has disappeared. Kate needs a guide back to Ven's homeland to search for him, and Ven needs to find him for reasons of her own, reasons she refuses to explain. Despite their mutual distrust, Kate and Ven form a grudging alliance. Somewhere in the midst of infiltrating dwarven tunnels, discovering the secrets of the Enigma box, and stumbling onto shocking ancient relics, the alliance shifts to friendship. But as the search for Beau grows increasingly dangerous, they uncover a complex plot woven through centuries, devastating not just individuals, but entire empires. And even working together, the inexplicable forces standing against them may be too much. That sounds pretty cool. I've not read anything else from J.A. Andrews previously. I'll probably give her previous series a go first. The last one we have for August 1st is Tales from the Occupation. This is a Fae Wars anthology done by multiple authors. Wars end, enemies are defeated, and territories are conquered, and the combatants have to return to life changed. America and the rest of humanity have fallen to the Fae, ancient mortal enemies of mankind. After building their strength for 2,000 years, the elves have claimed their vengeance and now rule Earth with an iron fist and dragon fire. Down but not out, a human resistance is building, but first, daily life needs to be lived. If you like an anthology, this one may be up your alley, and that is it for the 1st of August. Up on August 3rd, we have Murder on the Lamplight Express. This is the Lamplight Murder Mysteries, book number 2 by Morgan Stang. So this is steampunk, horror, and gaslamp. It says all aboard for mysteries, murders, and monsters on the Lamplight Express. I love this cover. The series name intrigues me. I've not read the first book, but I'm very curious. On August 4th, we've just celebrated a release of Sea of Souls. This is by N.C. Scrimmager. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Apologies if I did not. And this is the Sea of Souls saga, book number 1. That's a lot of alliteration, a lot of S's for my mouth to get around for this one. Dark be the water, and darker still the creatures that lurk within. We all know how I feel about the ocean, yet somehow still want to consume these stories because apparently I love panic attacks. Free-spirited Isla Blackwood has never accepted the shackles of her family's nobility. Instead, she sails the open waters, searching for belonging on the waves. But when tragedy calls Isla home, she realizes that she can no longer escape the duty she's been running from. Selkie raiders have been terrorizing the island's coasts, and when they strike at the Blackwood estate, Isla is forced to flee with her hot-headed brother and brooding swordmaster. To avenge her family and reclaim her home, Isla will have to set aside old grudges and join forces with an exiled Selkie searching for a lost pelt. The heirloom might be the key to stopping the bloody conflict, but only if they can steal it from the island's most notorious Selkie hunter, the Grand Admiral himself. Caught between a promise to the brother she once left behind and an unlikely friendship with the Selkie who should have been her enemy, Isla soon realizes the open seas aren't the only treacherous water that she'll have to navigate. As enemies close in on all sides, she must decide once and for all where her loyalties lie if she wants to save what's left of her family and find the belongings she's been searching for. Up on August 4th, we have a book 7 in Wakespire by Sarah Lynn. This is another epic fantasy / progression cultivation fantasy that we have here. It is a book 7. I really love this cover. I have heard murmurings about this series and that it is quite enjoyable, but I have not dived in myself. But being a book 7, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Also on August 1st, we have Violence and Vigilance. This is the Teresa Untamed by David T. List. This is new epic fantasy / grimdark. I love this cover. I think there's a dinosaur on it, and honestly, dinosaurs on fantasy covers, I'm very intrigued. It says Violence and Vigilance is book 1 of Teresa Untamed, an epic fantasy series featuring an eternal vendetta, scars of grief and loss, untethered rage, and hope against all odds. Iridessa the Undying, a renowned arena fighter in Fort Valda, has escaped imprisonment, but at great cost. Broken and alone, she must outwit and outfight her pursuers. Jumping over to the 8th of August, we have the Wrath of Artemis. This is another entry into the Tapestry of Fate by Matt Larkin. This is book number 7, and this is historical fantasy, epic fantasy, grimdark, and it deals a lot with sort of mythology. I'm very interested in the series. It is a book 7. The blurb is quite short, so I'm not sure what spoilers are in there, but we'll just play it safe for this one. Also on the 8th of August, we have Manticore Park. This is the Regency Bestiaria for Fine Ladies and Gentlemen, book number 2 by Quenby Olson. Now, Quenby Olson has been making a name for themselves with some more cozy fantasy, and this looks also to be within a similar realm. This is romance, historical fantasy, and cozy fantasy, and it has a very cute cover, but it is a book 2, so we will be moving on from that one. On the 14th of August, we have the non-magical Declan Moore by Nathan Taylor. This is a YA fantasy entry into this list this month. 17-year-old Declan Moore should be a magical prodigy, yet it seems the only thing special about him is his famous surname. Desperate and jealous, Declan applies to learn magic at King's College, the most prestigious school of its kind. But everything changes when Declan's application is rejected, not because he cannot do magic, but because he is too powerful to be trained. If you like a magic school, that one looks like it could be up your alley if you're not afraid of a little bit of YA. On the 18th of August, we have a name that I always get excited about, and that is Lily Ann Crow, coming at us with To the Gilded Depths. This is book 4 of the War of Whispers. Not a whole lot is being said about this book at the moment, but being a book 4, we'll move on, but I will pop the cover, which I think is dark. It's a little bit dark, but it is cool when you look at the details inside of it, and that will be up on the screen for you. Jumping down to August 20th, we have Pawns of a Cruel God. This is the God Engine, book number 2 by Mars G. Efferson, and this is epic fantasy, grimdark, and sci-fantasy. We have some sci-fi elements in with this series. This cover is interesting. I'm not sure if I love it, but if that's a dragon / dinosaur egg in the background, I am interested in what's going on in here. No stranger to these lists, we have the next installment of Luke Irontree and the Last Vampire Wars by Thomas La Follette, and this is coming up on August the 22nd with Ancient Sword Unyielding. This is book number 9 in the series. This author must just be churning these out to come through. Has anyone read this series? If you have, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Being a book 9, we are going to have to move on though. Then we come to the end of August. On August 29th, we have Fireborn. This is Fireborn Book 3 by Vanessa Richie Thode. I apologize again for pronunciation. Epic fantasy / sword and sorcery is where this one falls, and if you like a black and blue cover, this one's going to be up your alley. Again, it is a book 3, so we're going to have to move on, but have a look at some cool, smoky blue dragons that we have up here. Also on August 29th, we have Faerie Hearts. This is Sharp's Tale, Book 7 by Anita Sharp. This is sword and sorcery plus romance, and there's a lot of fair bit of romance in this series, and historical fantasy. If you're looking for those things, then look no further than this series. Also, this cover is beautiful. Releasing on my birthday, August 30th, is one of my most anticipated reads for 2023, and that is Marked for the Pyre by M.T. Fontaine. This is the Brands of Talgear, book number 2. I read and raved about Carved Amidst the Shadows for months. You've all heard me talk about it. I cannot wait to read this book. I have the arc in my hot little hands. It is my next read. Hopefully I started it today, the day you're seeing this video. I'm very, very hopeful. I'm going to be reading this one with Esme, who is a name that everyone has heard about before, but she's very kindly waiting for me to read this one together. I can't go too much into it, nor do I want to read the blurb. For purely selfish reasons, I'm going to go in blind to this one. And finishing us off at the end of the month on August 31st, we have Hardbound. This is the Planar Pages Book 2 by D. Hale Rambo, and this is historical fantasy. Another cover that is very simple, but I kind of love it, even though there's a lot of blank space on here, which normally I wouldn't enjoy. I would want that space to be filled with something to take my eyes, but I kind of dig it because it's a page, and I'm intrigued what the page is behind this cover. So it's a book 2, therefore I will not be reading the blurb, just in case it does give any spoilers away for people who want to read this series. That, or those I should say, are the indie releases coming your way in August 2023. How many of those do you think I have pre-ordered / bought? Let me know. Is there anything on this list that has caught your attention? What are you reading? What are you excited for? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, give it one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.